will not be tolerated.
Welcome to the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program. This is Ken the Metal Professor. I've got to talk fast because I have about 1 hour of audio for you to squeeze into this 1 hour show. This is delayed audio coverage of Revolution Championship Wrestling's year-end event from South Bend, Indiana on Saturday, November 19th. Recorded live at the Goodson Event Center, chopped up here for your audio enjoyment. Here comes set number 1. This is Ken the Metal Professor, and I am, for the third month in a row, this is like a record, sitting at the Goodson Event Center in South Bend, Indiana, for the final Revolution Championship Wrestling event of the year. It was a fun time getting out here with blowing snow and whiteouts. Not a lot of snow, but it's frigid, so nothing melts, and then the wind comes up, and especially on the stretches of the road where there is no protection from vegetation on the sides. You just get wind-blown whiteout. And that was exciting. But I'm here. I'm not looking forward to the drive home in about 3.5 hours from now, but that's a tale for another time. Again, this is the final RCW event of the year. There are 10 matches on tap leading up to the big clash end of the year between Brutus Dillon and Kevin Storm. But all the way up from the get-go, we're going to have Just Business versus the Fine Ass Guys for the RCW Tag Team Championships. Schwartzy versus Captain Tony Garrix. I don't know if I've seen either of them before. Maybe Tony Garrix. I'll figure more out about that when I see him, and I'll either go, yep, never seen him before, or hey, I do remember that guy. I got Alex Van Zant against Tony Thunder, TJ Meyer versus Jorge Bravo. The Entitled versus Spark of Madness, a tag team match there. And then we have a 4-way match between Shady Chris, Zion, Jamar Jupiter, Let Her Rip, and Daniel Stark for the RCW No Limits Championship. Mr. Drew Skills versus Anthony Lee. We've got Theo Storm versus Jake Christ, Jensen versus Big Mama, and the big one, a cage match at the end of the night, probably at the end of the night, or maybe at the start of the second half if they want to set the cage up during intermission. We've got Brutus Dillon versus Kevin Storm for the RCW Heavyweight Championship. So that's the lineup. I'm going to shut up for now and come back in when the action starts, and you'll hear the highlights and recaps of everything that went on before RCW shuts down for the calendar year. This is Ken the Metal Professor. It's time for the start of Revolution Championship Wrestling's event. The end is near. This delayed audio coverage is brought to you by the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program on WVLP, 103.1 FM in Valparaiso, Indiana. And for the first match, coming out to the ring is the tag team of Sean Sparks and Travesty, also known as Spark of Madness. Travesty starts off the show by singing happy birthday to someone in attendance having a birthday party whose name is Brody. I like Travesty. He needs to stick to wrestling. That was pretty awful. Love you, man. Ryan Anderson didn't even get to announce one match before somebody yanked the microphone away. Not surprised, it's the entitled. For those of you not familiar with Revolution Championship Wrestling, note that his name is, check the initials, Nelson Edward Robert Doolittle. If you saw a total roster picture of the entire RCW cast, you could probably pick out which one he is. The ref is checking the wrestlers for illegal objects in the boots and knee pads, as is customary. Can't remember the last time a referee actually found something. And here we go. Bell ringer's not paying attention. Man, the inaugural ringing of the bell for any wrestling show is a special moment. I don't think I caught that one. Doolittle has already left the ring to go back and give grief to the birthday boy, Brody. The first smack that may have been picked up was courtesy of Sean Sparks, who chased him out. The second smack was courtesy of Brody. This travesty held Doolittle still so Brody could get in a lick. Sean Sparks is currently the only one in the ring area. Okay, Travesty is up. Dustin Mack is up on his apron. Oh, but now Sean Sparks jumps down off of his corner. The shenanigans continue. For the first time in several minutes since the bell sort of rang, we've got all four men up, in, or on the ring. Two contestants in the ring, the partners in their corners. How about that? Dustin Mack just had Sean Sparks in a fireman's carry up on his shoulders, and he tagged in Doolittle, who knocked Sparks off of Mack's shoulders by kicking him in the head. Sparks has been on the receiving end of punishment for a few minutes. I don't know that Travesty has been legal in the ring at all yet. Don't know how much more Sparks can absorb. A lot of the punishment is also coming with disrespect. So we'll end up seeing how that goes for the entitled. Sparks is still in the ring without tagging. I think his strategy is to wear out both members of the entitled by allowing them to beat on him mercilessly, so that by the time he does get to tag in Travesty, Travesty will have a significant advantage. And Travesty is being tagged in, finally. Sparks made it to the corner. He first encounters Dustin Mack. Doolittle charges across the ring at Travesty, but Travesty flings him up over the corner. And Travesty makes quick work of Dustin Mack once he's been tagged in. Sparks' strategy paid off. Oh, but even after the bell rang, Doolittle just attacked Sparks outside the ring, and now he's run in to attack Travesty. The second match, Alex Van Zant against Tony Thunder. Alex Van Zant, the Starbucks superstar. I hope he got his Red Cup yesterday during Red Cup Day. Actually, I hope he didn't. And I hope more people stayed away because the poor people that work at Starbucks don't need to deal with Red Cup Day. They don't get paid enough for that. It's a plastic cup, folks. Have some perspective. Tony Thunder apparently just did a tribute to Gallagher, not with a watermelon, by getting up on the corner turnbuckle and spraying water out of his mouth. And he got some extension on that, and I think a few people might be regretting having seated themselves in the front row on the corner. Ref Ray is in charge of this one. The bell rang, and after about 10 seconds of pacing around, Alex Van Zant jumped out of the ring to the floor so he could sip from the cup. It's not the red cup, just a regular old garden variety white and green Starbucks cup. He is not in the holiday spirit yet. Van Zant has finally come back in the ring, and he is trying to goad Tony Thunder into the old test of strength. And after the first hands lock, Tony Thunder spins it around into an arm lock right away. And now a headlock. So I guess we still don't know who is stronger, which is disappointing. Van Zant was going for a pinning maneuver. Tony Thunder turned it around into a sharpshooter. But Van Zant was able to escape from that pretty quickly. Just tried to get a 3 count after a spinning body slam to Tony Thunder. That failed twice in a row. Well, Van Zant wears a big weight belt, and he just took it off as if he was going to hit Thunder with it. So, of course, Ref Ray grabbed the belt and took it away to the corner while the ref's back was turned doing that. Van Zant took off his wrist tape and started choking Thunder with it. So he's always got the plan B, apparently. Van Zant asked the crowd, "You want to see something?" And people said yes. So he ran the ropes, bounced off once, bounced off twice, as if going for a big move, and sunk down into a headlock. Van Zant's been controlling the match. It looks like he was going to go into a pedigree, but Tony Thunder reversed it a little bit and has now rolled up Van Zant into a nasty-looking leg lock of some sort. Probably has a fancy name for it, but it's kind of on the other side of the ring post from me, and I don't know if I'd know what it was called if I had a clear view. Whatever it is, it's got to be hell on Van Zant's knees. But Van Zant got to the ropes, so Thunder had to break it. Van Zant is indicating to the ref that he can't actually stand up with a hurt knee. I don't believe it. Yep, And while Tony Thunder was coming over to check on things, Van Zant jumped up and kicked him in the gut. Thunder's going for a big splash in the corner, but Van Zant put up a foot and blocked him in the face. And here comes Tony Thunder with it looked like a sort of a suspended Sister Abigail type move where Van Zant's feet were on the ropes. But before he could do anything about it, somebody came out from the back to distract him, which gives Van Zant the chance to spray liquid from the Starbucks cup into Tony Thunder's eyes. And Van Zant gets the pin.
It's officiated by Taunton. It is for your RCW Women's Championship. Introducing first.
This match, as Ryan Anderson said, is for the RCW Women's Championship. Big Mama coming to the ring first. Coming out next will be the current champ, Jensen, a.k.a. Death Rider. Bacchus is the name of the person who cost Tony Thunder his chances in the last match. I know it was something like that, but I couldn't come up with it on the spur of the moment. Jensen and Big Mama started off with a good old-fashioned collar and elbow tie-up, roll around half of the ropes. Now they're back to a collar and elbow tie-up, which Big Mama spoils by grabbing onto Jensen's hair and using it to yank her back into the corner. After a lot of big strength moves, shoulder tackles, slams, Big Mama just starts going for chokes. That didn't work much either. And that time she just took Jensen down with a big clothesline. Got a 2 count. Big Mama with 2 running splashes onto Jensen in the corner. Jensen is down in the corner, kind of seated upright. Big Mama's going to charge from the other side with a hip attack right into the noggin of Jensen. Jensen is looking kind of loopy. Big Mama is picking her up by the hair. But instead of going for a pin, she's just kind of taunting Jensen and shoving her in the face. Jensen fights out a little bit, but Big Mama takes her down with a clothesline. It's been pretty much all Big Mama so far. Until she goes for a leg drop and Jensen rolls out of the way. Finally, after a shoulder tackle and a splash, Jensen may be regaining the upper hand here. She got a 2 count after the splash. Now she charged into the corner with a splash there. Big Mama knocked to the floor in the corner. Jensen with her own hip attack. Big Mama kicks her away. Goes for a clothesline. Jensen ducks the first clothesline and comes back with a spear. And retains her title. Schwartzy is out. He came to the ring in a party mood, carrying a small cooler, like a construction worker cooler. I'm afraid to find out what's in there. But Schwartzy is having a good time. Tony Garrick's out to the ring. Also seems to be in a party mood, and also the first person I've ever seen brave enough to come to the ring with the Doobie Brothers music, specifically Michael McDonald Doobie Brothers. His entrance song is I Keep Forgetting. You know, if he's the captain, probably would make more sense to come out to The Captain and Me by the Doobie Brothers. So Schwartzy was trying to have a good time and mix some wrestling with some fun for the fans. Tony Garrix wasn't really interested. And he overcame the silliness. Put Schwartzy down in a sit-down choke slam, double-handed choke slam, and got the 3 count. But now the match is over, he's ready to dance with his Doobie Brothers music again. Oh, he offers a hand to Schwartzy. There we go. And now they're both clapping and dancing to the Doobie Brothers. The bell is rung, Jorge's ready to go. TJ Meyer is just sitting in a corner, looking all gloomy. His shirt says good vibes only, but he just seems kind of melancholy.
Last time I was here, I distinctly remember beating you into this map. And the funny thing is, 2 years later, I'm going to do the exact same thing.
TJ Meyer announces that the first time he was in RCW, he beat Jorge Bravo, and here we are 2 years later, he's going to do the same thing. I don't believe he saw the shirt that he was wearing in the mirror today. And so the last match contained a bit of silliness. This match is just 2 big guys punching and kicking the heck out of each other. Right now, TJ Meyer has the upper hand and just did a curb stomp on Jorge Bravo for a 2 3/4 count. Now looks like he's trying to get him up in a package pile driver, which turned into just a normal pile driver, but the effect is still the same. I think Meyer thought he had a 3 count, but the ref had to explain to him, yeah, that was just momentum. Jorge had actually kicked out before the 3. Jorge picked up Meyer into an RKO, and that does the trick. Jorge Bravo with the 3 count. So 2 years ago, it was TJ Meyer. This time, it was Jorge Bravo. These guys are 1-1, so 2 years from now, they need to meet again for the tiebreaker. So November 2024, I'm calling it. TJ Meyer against Jorge Bravo in a casket match. This next match is for the RCW No Limits Championship. Title holder Theo Storm taking on Impact Wrestling's Jake Christ. Theo Storm accompanied by manager Damian Saint. Uh-oh, Russ Jones has something to say. As Russ Jones gets in the ring, Chris runs at him, and Russ Jones popped him one. And apparently Russ Jones has inserted himself into this match. And that thud was Jake Christ being hauled back into the ring. Good grief, Russ Jones and Theo Storm are both just opening up on Jake Christ. What did he do? Russ Jones is just tossing Theo Storm around like a rag doll. First he went for a backdrop, but instead of just, falling backwards and dropping Theo Storm like normal, he got him up in the position, and then on the way down just kind of flung him away from himself and sent him across to the corner of the ring. Jake Christ tried to get back in the ring, but both Theo Storm and Russ Jones just kicked him back out. Jake Christ tries again to climb up into the ring, and Russ Jones threw Theo Storm at him. Knocked him back to the floor. Russ Jones is just not going gently on Theo Storm. Oh, hey, Jake Christ finally made it into the ring. While Russ Jones was sitting up on the top turnbuckle ready to do something to Theo Storm, Jake Christ rushed up there and is now trying to suplex Russ Jones from off the top rope. Jones says no, flings Christ down to the ring. But now Theo's moved in. He's up on the second rope, getting ready to try to suplex Jones off and up over the top rope. Jones says no to that too. Now both Jake Christ and Theo Storm are up. Maybe third time's the charm. There they go. It took two of them, but they both suplexed Jones off the top turnbuckle. Now it's Russ Jones' turn to be kept out of the ring. After he was sent out, he's tried to go back in a couple of times, and Jake Christ is alternating between keeping on top of Theo Storm and noticing when Jones is coming back and popping him off the apron. So Theo Storm is fighting back against Christ, but he got met with a big boot. Jones is going to try again. Hey, Christ knocks him back off the apron. You are listening to the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program. on WVLP 103.1 FM in Valparaiso, Indiana. Chris lines up Storm in the corner and rushes in, but Theo gets a foot up. Came off as if to do a flying drop kick, but Chris just caught him and grabbed his feet and turned him over into a Boston Crab. Or a sharpshooter. This time Jones successfully gets in there and big clothesline on Jake Christ and another. So while Christ and Jones take turns getting kept out of the ring, poor Theo is just getting beat on by both of them. Jones just did a fall-away slam on Jake Christ. As he flung Christ backwards, Theo Storm was standing there and ended up getting a face full of Jake Christ's body. Now Jones is knocked down again, so now it's Christ and Storm. Theo's a little loopy. And Christ came off the top rope. A blow to the head. So Christ has both people reeling, and he's taking the time to stop and ask who's the man. A sit-down slam on Theo, but Theo kicks out. Jones got enough rest. He came back in and speared Christ. But then Theo came in, and with double stunners on Jones and Christ, he got to pin Christ while Jones was rolling out of the ring. Theo Storm is still the RCW No Limits champion. And that's the end of the first half here at RCW Championship Wrestling's final event of the year. It's going to be a short intermission because they're going to take a longer one later to set up the cage for the main event. You are listening to this delayed audio coverage of Revolution Championship Wrestling's The End of the Road on WVLP 103.1 FM in Valparaiso, Indiana. This is the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program. Delayed audio coverage of the second half coming up pretty much immediately. That's the end of the first half of delayed audio coverage of Revolution Championship Wrestling's year-end event from South Bend, Indiana on November 19th. I'm Ken the Metal Professor. This is the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program on WVLP 103.1 FM in Valparaiso, Indiana, and here comes the second half. I don't know if this is the second half or the first half part B after a very brief intermission. But everybody shape up. Drew Skills is on his way to the ring. It's taken a while for Drew Skills to get to the ring as usual. As he's going to the ring, he likes to stop and interact with the children. Gets in their face and asks them, what dreams they have. Are they eating their vegetables? Are they doing well in school and doing all their homework? Telling them to reach for the stars. I think that's what he's doing. Maybe he's just screaming at them. That's more likely. Drew Skills' opponent is Anthony Lee. Uh-oh, Drew Skills has a microphone.
So let me make it really simple for you. Do that cheering for me. I'm going to count to 3, and then I'm going to hear you cheer for me. 1, 2, 3.
The cheer was for Anthony Lee, not Drew Skills. So Drew Skills is pretending like he's mean, but what he really is saying is that he loves us all and he appreciates that we're here. He's just saying it in his own special way. Anthony Lee just gave Drew Skills a big uppercut in the corner and then stood up on the second rope and pounded Drew Skills' head for a count of 8. You hate to see it. Now he's pounding on Drew Skills' head a few more times. Drew Skills is loopy. And Skills just toppled over. But Lee was only able to get 2 out of that. Lee and Skills just met each other with flying cross body blocks in the middle of the ring. Skills got the better of it. Came down on top, but only got a 2 count. Now he's gotten up to jaw with the crowd a little bit more. Well, Skills is pulling Lee up by the hair into the corner turnbuckle. Slams his head into the top one. And now dragging Lee's eyeballs across the top rope to the other corner. Lee comes out of the corner with an elbow, but gets taken backwards in a suplex. Skills got 2.5. I'm not saying I want Anthony Lee to make a comeback and punch Drew in the face and get 3, but I kind of do. Lee rolls Drew's body out of the corner. Is up on the second rope, facing backwards into the ring. Now he's up on the third rope, facing backwards into the ring, and comes off with a moonsault, but Skills got out of the way. And Skills hoisted Anthony Lee up, dropped him on his head, and got a 3 count. Anthony Lee, you let me down. The last thing we need in this room is a gloating Drew Skills who just won a match. The fine-ass guys in the ring, ready for the ceremonial ripping off of the sweatpants. Not something that everybody needs to watch once in their life. Yeah, next out is going to be Just Business this match for the RCW Tag Team Championships. On his way out from the ring after his last match, which he won, Drew Skills swung over here, and I didn't have the mics piped up, but he screamed at me, "Your radio show sucks," which may or may not be true. But, you know, I'm starting to regret the $10 I spent on one of his t-shirts like 5 or 6 years ago. Since Richard Wright is injured and unable to compete, Bacchus is taking his place. Still defending the Tag Team Championships. The investment in Bacchus has paid off a little bit. He saw that the fine-ass guys were getting the upper hand on partner Giuseppe Gambini of Just Business, and so Bacchus just came in out of his corner and clobbered the opponents a couple of times, and now Giuseppe Gambini has the upper hand. On the other hand, Gambini just asked for a tag, and Bacchus did not give him one. Giuseppe is asking, "Why wouldn't you tag me in?" And Bacchus says, "It's your job, it's your title." So Bacchus is there to prevent the loss of the title, but he doesn't have to actually contribute much to the effort, just on an as-needed basis. So Bacchus did some work on his opponents, the fine-ass guys, for a few minutes, but instead of going for a pinfall, he just walked back to the corner and tagged in Gambini. Again, with the idea that he's there to just prevent the titles from being lost. He doesn't have to be the one to win them or do the pinfall to retain them. Making Gambini do all the work. And so Tony Thunder's making a little repayment for what happened in the first half. He's come out from the back to try to get at Bacchus. Thunder's being held back by security, but Bacchus has come out of the ring to go after Thunder. Now, during the melee, Jackie Jester jumped into the ring with a low blow to Kip Rude. Who pulls out a protective cup to show that he had been smart. But Richard Wright and Jester come in with Wright's crutches. Where is the ref, by the way? And Gambini's left alone in the ring. Oh, now the ref is rushing out from the back. Gambini with the 3 count, and Just Business does retain. So maybe the investment in Bacchus was worth it. This match right before the big main event is for the #1 contendership for the RCW No Limits Championship. Let Her Rip first to the ring. Said there was supposed to be 4 people in the match, but he injured one of them, being Jamar Jupiter. So we'll find out if there's a replacement or if this is just a triple threat. Daniel Stark out as number 2. Shady Chris Zion is out to the ring, and yeah, looks like this is a triple threat instead of a 4-way. We got Daniel Stark, we got Let Her Rip, and we've got Shady Chris Zion. So this match that was supposed to be a 4-way is a triple threat, and for better or worse, Daniel Stark is on the receiving end of a lot of double teams. It's sort of 2 against 1. Shady Chris and Let Her Rip, both members of Brutus Dillon's cohort, The Awakening. Daniel Stark is kind of on his own in there. That time Stark was about to pin Let Her Rip, and Shady Chris came in to stop the pin. And that's not so much camaraderie with Let Her Rip as this is a triple threat match, and whoever pins somebody else is the #1 contender for the No Limits Championship. So at some point, Shady Chris and Let Her Rip are not going to be able to work together. Yep, and there it goes. It broke down. Shady Chris had planted Daniel Stark with a body slam. He stood up to reposition himself, but in the meantime, Let Her Rip jumped in on top of Daniel Stark to try to get a 3 count, which made Shady Chris unhappy, so he went over and slapped Let Her Rip outside the ring. While Daniel Stark had Shady Chris in a crab, or a leg lock type of maneuver, and Shady Chris was trying to crawl away. Let Her Rip came over and dropped Stark on his head and got a 3 count. So he is now #1 contender for the No Limits Championship, and Shady Chris does not look happy about that. Now there will be another intermission of sorts while they get the ring set up for the main event, which is a cage match. And one of the security people has already brought out a garbage can full of plunder, like a crutch And the garbage can itself, of course. A couple of golf clubs, a chair. So it's going to be more than just a cage here.
South Bend, Indiana, RCW fans, are you ready? Introducing first.
So only in the world of professional wrestling does it make sense and logic within the universe to take a break during a show for a 30 to 45-minute intermission to change the stage and construct a steel cage around what was just the regular ring. But the Brutus Dillon Kevin Storm saga has been building for a couple of years now, and you know, sometimes a good old cage match is the only way to settle things once and for all. So now I'm looking at a 15-foot high steel cage set up around the ring. Kevin Storm is making his way out. During that lengthy setup time, I want to give props to Nelson Edward Robert Doolittle. Oh, Brutus Dillon doesn't even get an introduction. He just came out from the back and clobbered Kevin Storm before he even got in the cage. Dillon thought he was being clever by throwing Kevin Storm into the outside of the cage, but Storm just grabbed onto the cage, climbed up, and jumped off onto Dillon, who picked up Storm and speared him into the cage like a dart. As I was saying, I want to give credit to NERD for the yeoman's work that he did during the break, because there are a lot of kids here, and after a show that was already 2.5 hours long, and then there's going to be a significantly long break before the main event, he was going around and making sure the kids were entertained by allowing them to call him names and get all upset about it. So, good job. Both men are finally in the ring. The door is locked. And Brutus Dillon's already taken a crutch out of that garbage can of plunder I mentioned before and whacked Kevin Storm with it. And now the kendo stick has come out. Ryan Anderson was mentioning earlier whether this match will end in a pinfall or submission, or if those are a wash and the only way to win is to escape the cage. I didn't actually catch that, so we're all going to find out together. Brutus Dillon taunting Kevin Storm. Storm's having none of that. He was trying to get to his feet with some chops, but Brutus Dillon just chopped him in the neck. Has a running knee from Kevin Storm. And he did go for a pinfall, so it looks like that's the way out of this. Now, the door has a chain around it. I don't know if it's totally secure, but at least that's some protection against the usual shenanigans of having members of the Awakening come running out on Brutus Dillon's behalf. Brutus Dillon has just picked up a plastic bag. And here come the thumbtacks. Dillon has Storm up on the top turnbuckle in the corner. Storm's kind of dazed. Dillon's motioning that he's going to choke slam Storm onto the thumbtacks. The Storm is fighting out. Now he's standing up on the top turnbuckle, supported by the cage. And he does a sunset flip, which does drop Dillon onto the tacks, but also himself. And Brutus Dillon has rolled over to show us that, there are thumbtacks all over his back now. I think Kevin Storm must be part cat, because you know how if you give a cat a bunch of toys in a box, the cat just wants to play with the box. Now, Kevin Storm picked up the garbage can full of implements and just dumped them out, and is now using the garbage can on Brutus Dillon. Dillon's down in the corner. Storm has positioned him so that Dillon is kind of holding the can. And it looks like Storm wants to do a coast-to-coast from the other side. And he made it. And out go the lights on Brutus Dillon. Storm has set up a couple of sets of chairs with the seats facing each other. Now, whatever Storm was about to do, it didn't work. Dillon picked up Storm, and sack of potatoes down into the chair, right on his back. And that cardinal rule of wrestling that if you set it up, you're probably the one going through it. That holds true. That was really close to a 3 count after that.
Will always be second best. Do you hear me? Always. I am number 1. I am the king of Northern Indiana. I am Brutus Dillon, damn it!
You can't stand there giving a speech in a no DQ match and not expect to get kicked in the nether regions. Storm did that to Dillon and then picked up a chair and whacked him in the head a couple of times for good measure. Note to self, make sure we bleep that later. Okay, Kevin Storm is going to the top corner of the cage. Damian Saints reminding Kevin Storm that he can't win by going up and over. He's got to pin Brutus Dillon. Kevin Storm is up on the corner of the steel cage, 15 feet in the air. Genuflects a little bit, comes all the way off with a flying elbow. And he gets a 3 count. And I might possibly need a little bit more bleeping based on the crowd. And that brings to a close, perhaps, a long-running controversy between Brutus Dillon and Kevin Storm. And at the end of it all, Kevin Storm comes out on top. Not only did he kick Brutus Dillon out of being in charge of RCW, he has now stolen Brutus Dillon's Revolution Championship Wrestling heavyweight title. Stolen is the wrong word. He took it. But that concludes the Revolution Championship Wrestling year. Their next show is going to be in January of 23, I believe January 14th. Follow their Facebook page, Revolution Championship Wrestling. Anyway, the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program here on WVLP 103.1 FM in Valparaiso, Indiana. Thanks for listening. I might be going out next week to cover a show, but I also have college transportation to work out, so we'll see how that goes. But even if I can't make it, go support Backbreaker Wrestling out in Griffith, Indiana on the 26th. Closing up shop from South Bend, Indiana at Revolution Championship Wrestling.